Welcome to the Simple Switch podcast, where you'll join me, Rachel, the founder of Simple Switch, to talk about conscious consumerism and positive impact purchasing. Spending our money in a way that helps our planet and the people on it can be complicated and frustrating, and we're passionate about bringing ease to your journey. Join us as we demystify big ideas about conscious consumerism and hear from amazing business owners using their work for positive change. Thanks for being here, and enjoy the show. Hey, Simple Switchers. Holidays and Christmas are right around the corner, and I know a lot of you are looking for ethical gifts. We just started a pledge on the Simple Switch website and on our social media that allows you to commit to giving 60% or more of your gifts from sustainable or ethical companies this year. And if you share about taking that pledge on your social media, you'll get 20% off your next cart on Simple Switch because we want to make it easier for you. But we also want you to know that we are not the only option to help you with ethical and sustainable shopping. Tons of you already have partners that you love that you are committed to buying from, and we love that. One other great place to find companies that align with your values is Change the World by How You Shop. It is a website run by a volunteer who we'll speak to today, LeAnne McCoy. She's been working on it for years, and it shows tons of great partners who are making all sorts of awesome impact around the world. LeAnne is also a mom of a sweet 3-year-old, and we get a guest appearance from her. This is a really short episode today. I hope it's an easy way for you guys to get more ideas about how you can shop consciously and with positive impact. Enjoy. Hi, LeAnne. Thanks so much for being here with us today.
Hi.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what is it that you do?
Yes, I'm a mother of 6 children, ages 2 through 11, so that keeps me pretty busy. And I'm also a piano teacher. And I'm the creator of Change the World by How You Shop, which is an online ethical shopping guide. The idea behind my website is to make it easy for people to find products that are making a difference in the world by breaking it down to every little category you might be looking for, from keychains to kitchen stuff. And that's something I volunteer and pour my time into, to be able to make a difference both for ethical shoppers trying to find things, as well as to support the over 100 different shops and brands I have on my site that are making a difference all over the world.
Very cool. Yeah, and we found Change the World by How You Shop when I was originally looking for brands for a Simple Switch. And then more recently, LeAnne and I met through an ethical shopping Facebook page. So it's really fun. I wish this community was bigger, but it is kind of fun how small it is.
Yes.
What was your inspiration to get started with that? What drove you?
I had been, for years, concerned about where the products I bought came from, and looking and trying to find things, as I heard stories about forced labor and some of the horrible conditions in sweatshops where some of the products we buy were coming from. I would be looking and trying to find where the products I made came from. And after years of doing this, the more I learned, the more products I felt like, oh, well, I need to find an alternative. And it was very difficult to find the alternatives. When I started looking, trying to find ethical shopping guides, there wasn't much available like 5 years ago when I was looking. And finally, I realized I just need to create one. And so that was my inspiration. I know when I talked to you the other day, it sounded like that was a lot of the inspiration behind Simple Switch as well, is just trying to make it easier to find the products.
Absolutely, for sure. And that's, why our name is what it is, as Simple Switch. Because really similarly to you, I was just frustrated. I'd be trying to find a pair of pants and would have to do hours of research to figure out, is this really an ethically made pair of pants? What does ethically made even mean? What are we looking for? So having, someone like you who is compiling those things is such a gift. Can you tell me a little bit about, I'm guessing that you get customer feedback from people who use your site. Could you tell me a favorite story of maybe a customer who's been touched by this amazing service that you're able to provide?
Yeah, that's probably one of the funnest things I get to do through my site. Is every once in a while I will get an email from a customer who's been looking on my site and is trying to find something and emailed me to ask where to find it. That's one of my favorite things to do, is do the research and be able to help connect somebody to what they're looking for. I just got an email the other day from a woman who she had watched the documentary The True Cost and was starting to think about trying to make the switch to shopping for ethical fashion, but was feeling a little bit
Very
overwhelmed
cool.
by it. And her daughter was starting a gymnastic class and she needed long sleeved black shirts for her daughters. And so she emailed me, and I was able to find and send her back a whole list of potential places where she could get it. And her response is like, wow, maybe this ethical shopping thing won't be as hard as I thought. So that was a big encouragement.
Yeah. Oh man. And yeah, and what a huge encouragement to her as well. I mean, now you've totally changed her perspective on what ethical shopping has to be like. Like a lot of people do think it's going to be really, really difficult. Um, Man, that's awesome. And I love that you're so generous with your time of being able to, yeah, really seek those things out for people when they're looking for something that specific. That's awesome. How about from the impact side? Has there been any of the companies who have been able to, attribute a sale to you, or you've heard from them in a special way?
Every once in a while, I will get an email from one of the brands on my site just letting me know that they've seen a lot of traffic from my site, or specifically that they've had sales, or I'll talk to somebody who bought something because they found it from my site. And that for me is
Yeah.
always a huge thing because, a lot of times I just pour into this and wonder, is it making any impact at all? And it's always
It
nice.
is. It is.
So yeah, you can look at the
Yeah,
numbers on Google. Okay, so many people visited my website, but it's like, well, did anybody actually click
totally.
anything? So it's always nice to get that kind of
Yeah,
feedback.
absolutely, for sure. I think that's definitely a reason for people like us to do what we do, is just knowing that we really are supporting these incredible companies. Previous podcast episodes have been interviews with our companies that we partner with, and it's so fun hearing them just talk about what their sales are able to do. So anyone like you or like Simple Switch are able to direct more sales to that, and I don't know, it's a really special thing. Sometimes brings me to tears.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm.
I think I, probably I would, when I read about all these stories and I hear about what some of these different brands are doing, it's hard because I would love to be doing what they're doing. I would love to be able to visit some of these countries as I learn more about them. I would love to be able to be that really hands-on work, and that's not something I can do at this point in my life. Um, but being able to support them, I've realized is really my calling because I can be behind the scenes. I think one of the biggest encouragements to me at one of those times where I was ready to just give up on Change the World by How You Shop was I read the book Rhinestone Jesus by Kristen Welch, the founder of Mercy House. the
Oh,
the
I haven't read that
title
one.
the title of the book kind of put me off for a while. I was kind of like I was kind of like, what's that book about?
Yeah.
And somehow I ended up with the book and I started reading it, and it's really actually the story behind how she founded Mercy House, which they are started in Kenya with a maternity home for girls, the pregnant girls in the slums, and providing the medical services they need and the support with their babies for their babies to be able to live and grow and thrive, and which eventually
Wow.
led to a fair trade business employing some of their mothers with products they sell. And it's quite the story. But the most encouraging thing to me in the entire book was when she talked about a woman who helped her out. They needed diapers for the maternity home, and somebody emailed her and made the suggestion of, oh, maybe you could get them from such and such a place. And she wrote back and said, I just don't have the time. Well, this lady just took the time to go and write to the company and actually got a donation of like boxes and boxes of diapers. And she talked about how
Wow.
what a huge help that was to her because she had, all the hands-on stuff she had to do and didn't have time for those little details. And that's when I realized
Absolutely.
that's where you and I can be such a difference because these people are very, very busy with all the different things they're doing, running
For
their brand,
sure.
and we can be
Definitely.
behind and be that kind of support. So, yeah, that
Hmm.
really is like, okay, that's why I do what I do.
Absolutely. We talk a lot about bringing lift to our partners, and I think that's exactly what you're speaking to. Just being able, they're already doing incredible work, but how can we go and just make the load lighter? How can we go and increase the effectiveness of maybe one of their ads or things like that? Really, just being able to kind of exponentially increase the impact that they're able to have through partners like your website and ours. That's amazing.
Yes.
At Simple Stitch, we often use the phrase positive impact purchasing to explain that we do. So what does that mean to you, and why do you think consumers should even care about what they're buying?
I think the positive part of that phrase is so important because, why should people care? As you start to learn, and if you delve at all into the world of ethical shopping, you start to learn about human trafficking, about forced labor,
Yeah.
about, unsafe sweatshops where, people are dying in unsafe conditions, and just
Yeah.
the many people being exploited around the world to create products. And you start learning that, and it's very, very easy to just get paralyzed by fear, by guilt, get overwhelmed with all that information and go, what do I
Totally.
do with it? And it, I think a common response is to try and, shove it to the back of your mind, not think about it because it's too much. How can you make a difference? And I think by focusing on the positive, that's where it starts to go, oh, when you purchase a product from Simple Switch or from any of the other brands or shops that I promote on my site, you're having a positive impact on somebody's life, and you know that you're making a difference. And that's where it becomes powerful. I tell people all the time, it's not about as much about what you don't buy as it is about what you deliberately choose to buy that makes a difference. Every time you make one of those purchases, you know you're making a difference, and you can actually trace and learn about the difference and find out who made the product. And that's just such a powerful thing, I think, just for encouraging people that, yes, you can make a difference. And I like your name, Simple Switch. Just by making a few simple switches, you can have an impact.
Yeah, I know that there are a lot of companies doing something similar to what we do, but I think our big goal is to avoid that burnout that you were talking about, right? Because it can be, if you're having to do all the research and you haven't heard these things before and it's new to you and it just feels so overwhelmingly evil, honestly, some of the stuff that people are dealing with, it can be really, really, really tough. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. And the cool thing you mentioned, it's not necessarily about what you don't buy, but what you do buy. When you do choose to make those purchases, it kind of automatically stops you from making those purchases that are going to make the negative impact because it's replacing it. So that's what we love about the idea of the switch. We are all for, especially environmentally, buying less, right? We're not trying to encourage people to consume and consume and consume. But when they're able to make that switch, for instance, on our site, we have toilet paper. They're already going to have to buy that if they switch to our company. Then it has that positive impact you're talking about, as well as taking out the positive impact. So it's just all very chain reaction-y, and it's really fun when you're able to start seeing what your purchases are doing around the world.
Say hi. I love
Hi.
This is Kimberly, my 2-year-old. You said hi?
Love it.
Hi. There you go.
Hi, Kimberly.
I love that you have practical things like toilet paper and pencils on your site.
Yeah,
Things like that can get frustrating when you're trying to find it ethically made.
totally. For
It's
sure.
nice that you
Because
have.
there's stuff that we do need, in our households, and people are always really surprised by that. I went to a design thinking workshop yesterday, and we were talking about our value proposition, and I used the word everyday goods, and people got so skeptical. They're like, well, when you say everyday goods, what do you mean? And I was like, well, what would you think when, what would your reaction be? What would you hope that we would have? And they were like, well, I would think like, shampoo and things like toilet paper. And I was like, well, those are two of our best sellers. So people are always so relieved to understand that we have things that aren't just artistry, that aren't just, because those things are awesome, but they're not always things that you need. So people are always very excited that we also carry things that, they'd be buying anyway.
Yes, being able to make a difference even just through those practical everyday purchases.
Definitely. Well, Kimberly, is there so sorry, I was thinking of your sweet daughter, LeAnne. Is there anything else that you think our listeners should know about your website or just about the impact shopping industry as a whole?
I think, one of the encouragements is it's growing. I said 5 years ago when I tried to look for
Yeah,
stuff, it was hard to find. It no longer is. Even that woman who emailed me trying to find the long sleeve black shirts, it is possible to find many
absolutely.
of the items that you want. And there's more shops and brands that are popping up all the time. So now is a better
For
time
sure.
probably than ever to get into it because the movement is growing and it is becoming, you're finding more stuff even in the grocery store and even on Amazon and places that people shop all the time, which means that making an impact has become much easier. And obviously Simple Switch is doing a lot to try and make it
Totally.
easier as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hello again. Well, maybe now we should say bye. Kimberly, can you say bye?
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining me today.
You said bye. Well, thank you very much, Rachel, for having me on your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can't wait to be on Change the World by How You Shop. I know you guys are planning on putting some of the Simple Switch stuff up there so that people who are looking for this kind of stuff can find what we're selling. And yeah, so listeners, go check out her website. It gives a lot of really great suggestions on how to buy in the way that I know you all are trying to do.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Yes, and
Thanks.
looking for your site, I saw so many cool products. I'm like, this will be a great addition to my site. So I'll be very excited to add Simple Switch.
Oh, good. Awesome. Perfect. Well, have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Thanks so much for joining me today. If you like this episode, you can support us by leaving a great review, sharing with your friends, and subscribing. Thanks for caring about our planet and the people on it. We'll see you again soon.